What a scintillating morning this is, with engineers, captains, and cadets right here in front of me. Our guests have arrived. Life looks like a small, sweet, full circle to me on this morning. I started my career, little did I know, as an intern with one of the shipping companies, one of the members of whose will be here with us shortly. Thank you and welcome to all of you to the Naval Connection. As we start this morning, the first thing that we will do is, since we are in an enclosed space, we would give you a safety briefing for which I would request Mr. Amit to come on and guide us.
Good morning all. Myself Amit, I am the security head over here. I would like to brief about the safety measures. First, I would like to brief about the safety evacuation point. We have two fire exits. Outside the hall, take a right, next to the guest elevator, there is a first fire exit. And left-hand side towards the kitchen area, there is a second fire exit. Our assembly point is the service gate and out gate. We do the mock drill every month. Today is no mock drill. Also, we have the refuge area on the 6th floor. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Amit. 6th floor is the refugee area we must remember in case we need it. Okay, I welcome all of our sponsors and thank each one of them for the program. Might I request Mr. Shaukat Mukherjee to take the stage, and I would like to introduce him. Captain Shaukat Mukherjee is the founder and CEO of the Naval Connection, commonly known as the TNC, a startup firm founded in the year 2019 with a vision of building value for the future. Working closely with over 100 companies in various domains of skill building, TNC helps organizations to upskill their workforce, which increases their profitability and business deliverables to all stakeholders of the industry. Driven by integrity and an intense passion to innovate, TNC has developed several successful brands, one of them being Technology in Maritime, TIM, Global Networking Meet. I invite Captain Shaukat to take over the stage.
Thanks, Akanksha. Akanksha is your host, and you're in very, very good hands today. So firstly, on behalf of the Naval Connection, thank you for coming. And people are still stuck in traffic. They are messaging me, and there's a lot of traffic in Mumbai. You can't have a place where you don't have traffic. So, and I would like to, on behalf of the Naval Connection, welcome all of you to Technology in Maritime, TIM 2022 Global Conference. While we speak, we are going live on our YouTube channels. I would like to tell you on our last edition of TIM, which happened last year, we have two brands. One is the Future Skills Maritime, and the other is Technology in Maritime. We've done Future Skills for 2 years. Technology in Maritime, this is the second year running. In the last year, we had delegates from over 40 countries tuning in on our virtual platform. And as we speak right now, we will have thousands of people, and believe me, it's not an exaggeration, we will have thousands of people watching you, watching me, and watching everybody, all this glorious audience today as we speak on stage and off it. They will be watching us, and it's going to be a huge learning experience. So welcome once again. Building value for the future has always been a motto. Last 2 years has been very tumultuous. We've ridden the waves, we've ridden the crests and the troughs, and as shipping has taught us, we've bounced back. And because of some extraordinary leadership, extraordinary mentoring from doyens of the industry, some of them are sitting right here in the front tables, Captain Bhasin sir, Mr. Deepak Shetty sir, Sankalp Shukla, and all of you who've mentored us and showed us the right way. Today, as I speak, we've got 25,000 seafarers following us at every level, and we've ridden the wave of technology, of digital transformation. We brought social media into our campaigns. And when I say social media, we are working with a host of companies right now, including some of the biggest names in the industry, and doing their digital promotions. And we know that in today's world, the youth is on Instagram. The youth is following people, following companies, following organizations and individuals on Facebook and in social media. हिंदी में एक कहावत है, जो दिखता है वो बिकता है. And हम लोग एक brand दिखाते हैं. So we would like to, at this opportunity, we would like to thank our partners, our sponsors. One of my mentors has just entered, Captain Rajesh Tandon. I was just talking about mentoring. Sir, kept a seat for you. And here I would like to thank our partners. First of all, FOSMA has been very generous in supporting us, and we're working very closely with FOSMA. Our brands, Storm Geo and Kaushik Seal has come down all the way from Singapore to speak at this event, and I'm very proud to say that this makes Tim a global brand. Shipscart, Dhruv has come down, founder of Shipscart has come down from Delhi, and he's going to speak at this event. Mariapps, division of Bernard Schulte, Ship Management, the technology division, they've done amazing things, and we have a presentation of Mariapps on crew challenges and addressing crew challenges later during the day. Thank you, IMI. They've also been supportive. We have a chief engineer and captain. They have not yet arrived from IMI. Oh, yes. Oh, yes. And we have the table branded. So, Captain Faisal. Faisal, yes. So, welcome, IMI. Ace Insurance, we have Apurva, the country head of Ace Insurance. That's a huge support. They are the insurance partner. ATPI, always. Captain Kuman, thank you. And Nitin Hadi, thank you. We have a table branded for them. Elegant and Fleet has always been a big name in the industry. Thank you, Elegant. And we are going to felicitate MUI also. We are waiting for MUI team to arrive. So thank you. And can we start this with a big round of applause? Thank you. One of the things, a little bit incident happened about 3 days back, and I would like to share this. It'll come as a kind of surprise with you. When I was working to make the speaker list for this event, normally we go global, but here we were concentrating our efforts to finding speakers from India because it's more of a physical event. And I received a message at about midnight 3 days back from a very, very eminent person in the world. I'm not going to name her, but yeah, she's one of the strongest woman leaders in the world. And she says, Shaukat, how come Tim is very low on diversity this year? Our events are normally very balanced as far as diversity is concerned. So in our Future Skills Maritime, we have 75% of the women talking about training. But here, I found out there was only one lady, only a single lady in our whole lineup of speakers today. And I want all the doyens here and all the think tank, the people who are making policies here to maybe develop on this, because this is a thing which I have personally faced. In the last 3 months, we've been looking for a lady to come and speak connected with Indian shipping, to come and speak on technology, and I have not got anybody who's a volunteer. I could not get, maybe it's my fault because I couldn't reach out to the right people, but just the food for thought. Maybe we are working on women empowerment, we are working on women. Vista is doing a lot of work, and Sanjam was supposed to be here, she's not yet here, but yeah, so maybe we can think of how to introduce more women in technical aspects or maybe in the tech departments of shipping. So with that, I'm going to hand over to our MC again, Akanksha, and wishing you a lovely day, a lot of learning, a lot of engagement, a lot of fun, a lot of networking. And like I said, we have many, many countries who will be tuning into YouTube live, and they will be watching all of us. So again, very, very welcome to Technology in Maritime. Thank you for coming. We appreciate it. All yours.
Thank you so much, Shaukat. Akanksha is my name. आप सब लोगों के जहाज़ जो हैं, आज मैं वो पानी हूँ जिस पे चलेंगे. पूरे दिन मैं आपके साथ में रहूँगी, आपकी host. I'm going to be with you throughout the day. Let's move forward, and can we have the audio files of introduction for our guests? Even though Shetty ji did not require any formal introduction, it's a pleasure and an honor for all of us to have him between us. Please, sir, take the stage. I was specifically instructed to fasten up the introduction of his because everybody knows him, everybody knows his career achievements. Thank you so much and welcome. Can we have the next audio, please?
Captain Sankalp Shukla is the Managing Director, Bernhard Schulte, Ship Management India. He joined Bernhard Schulte, formerly known as Eurasia, as cadet in 1995. He got command as master in 2007 and shifted ashore same year in Chennai office. Sankalp has a degree in international shipping, logistics, supply chain management and port policies. He was elected as the chairman of the Foreign Owners, Representatives and Ship Managers Association, FOSMA, and is the General Secretary, MAPS, Court member of IMU, member of NUSI ITF, Trust and board member of RBSC.
Captain Shukla, we look forward to learning a lot from you, I along with several participants here. Can we have the next audio, please?
Captain Mahendra Bhasin is the founding trustee member and managing director of MSC Crew and Services Private Limited India and heading India operations of all MSC offices towards recruitment, placement and training of seafarers for cargo and cruise ships. He represents and leads various associations and to name a few, Chairman of Maritime Association of Ship Owners, Ship Managers and Agents, MASA, Director of NDRF, Secretary General of Company of Master Mariners of India, Executive Member of MAPS. MSC has won several awards under Captain Bhasin's leadership. Best Foreign Employer of the Indian Seafarers, twice awarded at the National Maritime Day by DGS, Ship Manager of the Year, continuously 5 years in a row. Dream Company of the Year, Best Manning and Training Company.
Captain Bhasin, we request you to grace the dais. May I request all three of you to please light the lamp? May I invite Captain Shaukat to please join?
This opportune moment also to introduce MSCN. Day before yesterday, we had the India launch. Sir, I would like to say at this moment that Naval Connection is committed towards giving any support that is required for MSCN. We have a poster here. And I would also like to congratulate Mr. Shetty for leading this huge program in India. We see MSCN as a light at the end of the tunnel, sir. We cannot see the end of the tunnel, but we can surely see the light. So a huge round of applause for what he is doing and leading.
Anjali is taking care of that. Yes, please, Deepti, join us. उस लॉ की खुशबू मुझे यहाँ तक आ रही है. Might I request all of you to please be seated? Deepak sir, if we can request you to come and speak a few words.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's an absolute delight and privilege to be here amidst all of you this morning on a critical theme which is all spelt out to you. At the outset, my gratitude to Captain Shaukat Mukherjee for the very kind invite that he's extended to me. I wonder what a ex-career civil servant does in technology, so that's a question which I pose for myself. But be that as it may, let me share some perspectives, particularly from my tenure of 6 years in the Maritime Administration, initially for 4 years as Additional Director General, and culminating in 2 years as Director General and eventually as Secretary in the Government of India. One of the first observations, and that came very belatedly, virtually towards the fag end of my career when I was almost demeaning office on superannuation, I had a proposal before me from a very eminent maritime expert. And this was a project, and I won't name for reasons of confidentiality, but it's an absolute authentic case. Just about 3 weeks prior to my retirement, he came up to me, I was convinced that that was a project worth support and funding all through. Unfortunately, there was no program per se in the Ministry of Shipping, which was a pity. And the tragedy was that it had received 50 patents globally. And so that was the power of that technology which was being offered. And it was, to my mind, as a layman, it was likely to be a game changer. I ran it past the industry, and they vetted it, they endorsed it. Then I said, let me take up that challenge, although I've just got about 2 to 3 weeks to go. I sent out a detail, and believe me, it was a rarity then. I wrote a 17-page demi-official letter to the Secretary of the Department of Science and Technology of the Government of India, and endorsed a copy to the Secretary of the Ministry of Shipping, lending all my weight and saying that here is a technology which is well worth supporting, although I don't see clearly any line of a program or a funding source for it. I tried to take it up even subsequently, but as luck would have it, it died a natural death in the labyrinths of bureaucracy. And so that's where I think the chickens came home to roost, and I realized that there is very little hope, and I don't want to be a dampener, I don't want to become a party pooper here, so to speak. But the grim reality is that when you venture out into something which is innovative, which is, you think beyond, and then you find that there's very little. And the irony of that was that he then moved to the UK, and the UK government decided to support. So I think that's where the tragedy got compounded manyfold. But having said that, all I wanted to say in the very brief time that I have, about next 6 to 7 minutes, is that it's time that we smell the coffee, to use a proverb. And that's simply because technology is here to stay. It's staring at our face. Whether we like it or not, I am 65. I quite see, and I see it very, very robustly, it's my conviction that in the next 5 to 10 years, technology is going to really overwhelm us. It's only the power of computing is exponential. I mean, you can name any of this. You can name, machine learning, artificial intelligence. You have now 5G unveiling in India, right? And you scan the landscape and you see paradigm shifts happening. One might argue on a counter narrative that, it's going to displace manpower. But I guess at some point, things are going to balance out, and eventually there can be alternate forms of employment available. Now, what struck me was that if you want to have an enabling ecosystem for technology to flourish, I think there are certain critical components, and purely for positive time, I'll just leave a few strands of thought. One is that there is an abysmal lack of policy support from the government And that I illustrated right at the outset. And I tried to navigate that proposal through the DST, Department of Science and Technology. I mean, lip service was paid. This is not to run down anybody. And somebody might, my former colleagues in the civil service say, it's very easy post-retirement to bash the government. But that's not the intention, really. But what I find is that there is a lack of policy and enablers in that. So that's one of the critical components. The other thing is that you don't have a research and development system available readily to support you. The R&D infrastructure, and let's squarely face the fact that in the Ministry of Shipping and all associated agencies, you seldom hear, probably beyond lip service, as to what is that we need to do in terms of R&D. And that means, and I'm very, very conscious about that, that you need to interface with national centers of excellence in terms of teaching and research. How many of us really have stitched up that arrangement to formalize agreements with some of even the IITs, for instance, IIT Kharagpur, IIT Madras, which have distinct, long-standing departments of ocean engineering and naval architecture. Have you looked at building bridges and seeing that how do we support R&D for the maritime industry? I'm only speaking in terms of a macro perspective. The other thing is the industry interface for support. It's very easy for us to say that, and look at, whenever I've had the privilege of representing India in the IMO, and it's a cliche, all of you know much better than me, that why is it that the Western world is able to railroad and ramrod technologies which are developed and which are sanctified eventually by the IMO and the UN setup. It's just that they have sort of gone mile streets ahead of us in picking up this and understanding that this is where the power of technology lies. So the industry support to me is very critical in terms of understanding what needs to be done. Then of course, there is this lack of banks and financial support for technology if you really want it to be meaningful. The very fact that we don't have a dedicated FI, financial institution, for the maritime industry. There was one until about 86, as all of you are aware, and it died a natural death for whatever reason. And the fact that even 3 decades down the line, we have not been able to revive that institutional mechanism for funding. And to that, I think finally, that is the choke point. Then, do we have mentorship in terms of a hand-holding and where, the earlier generation of seafarers who have risen, deem it appropriate to come and mentor the younger generation for supporting technologies. I'm often left aghast, we've been always talking, and you have this Vision 2020, 2030, much touted document. I have the highest respect for that. The point is that I'm sure there is adequate provision for technology there. But 2 years down the line, we are now into 2022, and we are looking at the residual 8 years. What is it that we have done in terms of an actual tangible support for the industry? That leads me to the next question is that, do we have a think tank? A think tank in a meaningful sense, which constantly scans the globe 360 degrees and understands which are the emerging trends. You need to, if you want to really be pioneering technology and if you want to be a supporting ecosystem, you need to look at the horizon, which clearly means looking 5, 10, 15 years and beyond, and trying to discern what are the emerging paradigms in terms of technology. What is it that you look at semi-autonomous ships, autonomous ships? You might say that this is in the realms of fantasy. It's not really so. It's only a matter of time because that overtakes us all. Are we provisioned? Are we equipped? Do we see ourselves positioning for that or anything allied? That's where I think a think tank needs to be. And I think the misfortune has been that, despite these sporadic, off and on initiatives to try and build a think tank, hardly anything worth the while has happened. Then there is this element of ESG. We have talked about it, which to my mind is again very critical. to understand technology, the environment, the social, and the governance components. Now, you have the UN framework, you have the UN SDGs and the like. Clearly, good governance is an element that needs for it to happen. Now, in terms of appreciation, are we also mindful of the fact that while we advocate and embrace technology, do we also try and sort of understand the downsides of technology? For instance, you have challenges such as cybersecurity, you have the rights of privacy. These are all concerns which emerge. Now, I don't know how many of you had this occasion. Most of you may have seen. There was this, in the television, there was a coverage which was splashed just 2 days ago. A very graphic audiovisual where a 7-year-old boy is pitted against a computer playing chess. If I'm not mistaken, it was Russia. Yeah, it was Russia. Now you see what really happened. I mean, one was left aghast. The boy played 2 moves and the robot came and slammed his finger. His finger got sliced at the tip. Now, what I'm trying to say is that this might be a slight fantasy, but the fact remains that there are these concerns which we need to factor in our decision making in terms of safety, privacy, all the digital rights and cybersecurity. I think while occasions like this, get the industry leaders to gather here, but what I would want to sincerely urge is that, and unfortunately there is no policy planner here, Captain Shaukat Mukherjee. So I wish there was some representative from the government so that, there could be an interaction with them and then hopefully, try and see that what could be done more tangibly. Because at the end of the day, you need a public-private partnership for all of this really to materialize. I'm sure that in the course of the entire day that you have and the proceedings of the various sessions, you will get to deliberate this. So as I said, as a former civil servant, there's not much I would like to contribute except trying to open up some of the lines for just initiating a thought. I wish the conference all success, and I wish my very best to you personally and professionally in all your endeavors to try and breach the frontiers of technology in the larger and sustainable interest of the maritime industry. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for your attention, and thank you, Captain Shaukat Mukherjee, for inviting me. This was my 2-bit of Gyan, so to speak. Thank you so much.
Eye-opening and reflective were the 2 words that came to my head as I was listening to Sir. As somebody who does not belong to the industry, these were questions that I did not ever think of, but these are the questions which seemed so real. The macro perspective, the holistic view that you gave to us. Thank you so much to start the conference on that note. On the logistics side, there is a QR code which is placed on the table, and all of you can scan it. It gives you an up-to-date status of what is the status of the conference, where it is going, how we are proceeding with it. Let's go ahead. Might I request Captain Shukla to please come and take on ahead.
Very good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, thank you, Shaukat and the Naval Connections to invite me, give me the honor to speak in this conference. Technology in maritime. We are always considered a very, very traditional industry where we were the last, the shipping industry was told that they're the last people to actually embrace technology because we've had very, very traditional thoughts. But that is not the case today. I'm a person who joined as a cadet much later than most people here. And that time there were sat-navs, slowly came GPS. I did my second mates, and during my second mates, they told me there's something known as an EGDIS, okay? And one of the questions that used to be asked was, what are the advantages and disadvantages of EGDIS? You studied it, you wrote your exams, you've never seen it, And then one day I was promoted to second mate. So now I've got 2 stripes on my shoulder, climb up the gangway on a container ship, go on top of the gangway, and the second mate who's signing off gives me handover notes. Bye-bye, 10 boxes to go, ship is sailing. I said, fine. Meet the master. He tells me go on bridge and make sure that the courses are laid down from Hong Kong to Ningbo. So I go on the bridge, I open the bridge and nearly have a heart attack. All that I can see are screens. I'm looking for a paper chart, I can't find a paper chart. Then I see the handover notes and it's all about EGDIS and sea maps and double touch in Greek. And here I had to lay down the course on the EGDIS. So what I did is I went and sat on the Shetty, drank a glass of cold water, and started thinking what to do. That was second mate's time. Then, of course, once I became a master, what was the biggest tension of master during my time? Not navigation, not maneuvering, not handling the crew, but the blooming portage bill. Whatever formulas you would put on your Excel sheet, you will end up, there'll always be a query that comes back from the office that so many cents are miscalculated over here, or you've not rounded up over there. So from 1st of every month till 29th of every month, I was only struggling with portage bill. Transformation today. The softwares that you have on board the ship today are such that, and it's really envy when you see a master only there's a deduction column where he puts the deduction of the slop chest or radio communication or whatever it is, and voila, automatically the portage bill comes, all generated, the pay slips come out. Where the hell was this when I was sailing? So yes, technology has now come into the maritime industry in a big, big way. It has transformed the maritime industry from what it used to be. Gone are the days where we used to catch a sextant and take sights and jot it down. One thing that Mr. Deepak Shetty did bring up is the negatives of technology. I was on a ship when I was second mate, and we had a lightning strike on board the ship, and all the communication, all the antennas, everything was fried. We went back to the good old sextant. So basic seamanship can never be replaced by technology. But technology has had a big role to play in today's shipping industry. Whether it be logistics, whether it be shipboard operations, whether it be operations ashore. Today, onboard ships, you could never imagine that you are actually getting live streaming of Netflix for entertainment of the crew. Yes, it is happening. You could never think that you are real-time communicating with your family. You've got very, very good internet services today on board the ships. And the wives are constantly in touch with their husbands. Similarly, the ladies who are sailing on board ships are in touch with their families. I don't know whether to say it is good or bad, because on the hindsight, you're finding that there is violation of rest hours for the very simple reason that people during their rest hours are overusing WhatsApp and things like that. And small things at home now go on board the ship, and people tend to get get more and more anxiety. Like, for example, the flush has not been working for the last 5 days, the plumber is not coming. These were not things that we heard back during that time, because the SATCOM calls were really expensive, and all they used to say is that, yeah, we are fine, how are you? We are fine. I was really, really surprised. I went, we've got a software company called Mariapps, and they've got a huge office in Kochi. So they told me there's something known as a Fleet Performance Center. I said, okay. And it's integrated with a Fleet Monitoring Center. I said, fantastic. Sir, do you want to see it? I said, why not? So I go into this room, and it's a huge, like a conference room, and there are tiles, those LED tiles on the wall. So the entire wall is like one big television, and there's real-time monitoring of data going on from ships, whether it be engine parameters, whether it be navigational parameters, whether it be the weather, whether it be the route, whether it is monitoring the entire fleet of ships. And I'm like, how does it work? And they're like, there are sensors on this, sensors on that, and the sensors are connected to this software, and that software is connected to the internet, which gives real-time data over here. I said, hell no, the master has to even go through this. So yeah, while all this is there and you're having real-time monitoring of the vessels taking place to see how best to run the ships in the most efficient way, fuel savings and things involved over there. This was nothing that I'd seen earlier, and it was really, really impressive. At the same time, it is also assisting the masters on board the ship because they are getting basically the advice from the shore, whether it be regards weather routing. We all have been through weather routing, but this is real-time weather routing with much, much more information. So that is good. While saying all this, the only thing that the masters and the chief engineers complain is, sir, we are not software engineers, but all that we are doing from morning to night is, monitoring this, monitoring that. So while technology has come a long way, we also need to realize that there is a lot of burden that is being put on the ship staff to make sure that the technology is working fine, to give regular feedbacks, whether the technology can be improved in which way. And we are talking about autonomous ships. Deepak sir did say when autonomous ships do become a reality, to a certain extent they are, but in the main merchant fleet, when they become a reality, that means there has to be a complete change in the regulatory system. Have we had a look at that? The other question that I put across, what are going to be insurance costs when you have technology coming in this way, where you're looking at autonomous or semi-autonomous ships? The other good thing about technology is that technology is being embraced very, very big in the maritime training domain. Whether you talk about artificial intelligence, we are talking about simulators, and the simulators are getting more and more advanced. The good part of artificial intelligence and the simulation training is it is as close to the real thing as possible. So that is another thing that is really good with automation and technology coming into the industry. So yeah, I've spoken about the goods. There are certain questions that I've put across. I hope during this very engaging seminar that we're having today, we have some kind of answers to the questions that we are putting across and what future technology is there that we need to embrace. So once again, thank you, Shaukat. Thank you to the Naval Collections for having me here. And you all have a lovely, lovely day ahead. I hope this is a very interactive session. Thank you.
Adaptability is the way of life, and it seems it's no different on the sea. Thank you so much, Captain Shukla. Now, might I request Captain Bhasin to give us some more eye-opening, insightful thoughts, ideas, and his suggestions, his 2 cents.
Shri Deepak Shetty, sir, dignitaries on the dais, off the dais, ladies and gentlemen, and dear cadets. I see the cadets sitting there, and so nice of you, Shaukat. I see the woman in maritime in making. You got the ladies cadet also. Bravo. She has told me, give us some inputs, okay? Shetty sir spoke about autonomous, Sankalp touched something about the old things. I will take a middle path. I will tell you where we are now. Why we collected here now. I'll speak about that. But just to tell Sankalp, I never got the chance of even looking at any of the actives or anything by the time I retired from active sailing. So you are a lucky one. And now when I have to go in my training institute, I have to go through all those actives and simulators. I feel good actually, because one must adapt with the changes. And that is why technology in maritime. Captain Shukla, you have brought a very pertinent subject, the need of the hour. We all know in today's time, present, we are going through big, big words. Global warming, climate change. But mind it, these are some big things which are actually driving the more and more regulation now. EEXI. Just now the Kaushik was telling me about CII. What are they? They are coming out from these things. That is the present. Let's talk about present. What are we facing and what are we doing about it? And that is why collectively you all are here and our esteemed speakers will tell you their products because they are need of the hour. Among all the technology, I have only one word which will stick with you all the time. Does not matter who is the provider, really doesn't matter. But there is one word which will stick with everything that the technology has to provide. And that is only one word, that is data. Sir, you need data to drive any software or any technology. And from where will you get the data? Never forget the seafarers on board. Never, ever. I always urge to all the providers, you are in hurry up to comply with the various regulations and to fulfill the government or the world requirements, always keep in mind the human factor. Human factor is a very, very big thing. Ultimately, you need them to comply and to use the software and to give you the data. So keep that one thing in mind. That is what I reach out to all the software providers who are here or listening from the other parts of the world or who are going to present their cases today. You all must have heard about latest technology being used in every company. Why? Why are we using technology? In our time, we had a paper chart. I heard that yesterday that the last piece of the chart is coming out, is closed now. I mean, there are no more paper chart now. 2026. So it is finished. So we are going to live with only ECDIS. And I never knew this. In my time, only paper chart. So why you need this? Because we have to adapt with the changes. Because the latest technology is actually very good. It makes the things much easier to get drive the data, drive the information, real-time information, and at times later on, is actually very good. What we need is a change in our thinking process. We have to educate and train our office staff, our superintendent and seafarer to get used to that technology in maritime. That is the essence today. That is the essence today. What will happen in future, I can't predict. But I can tell you, I can assure you, new software will come in. New technology will come in. That is the written thing. And you will keep on adapting, keep on changing. So be bold and accept it wholeheartedly. But pay attention to the human factor and seafarers. And that's from both the sides, providers as well as the shipping companies. They have to look into that aspect. And it is very, very good. One more thing, slightly, Shetty sir said there is no government representation. So in the lighter vein, when you go to DG Shipping, everybody stand. When we go, we have to keep standing. So maybe I will request Captain Shokar, I mean, whatever you drive from the consultations or the presentation today, use the good offices of Deepak Shetty sir. We have associations here, MASA, FOSMA, INSA, ICSA, and all that. Use that, and then definitely go and give whatever you drive. I think we should give whatever we drive from any seminar or webinar, must take our home things and give it to them. So that's for you, sir. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
When Shetty sir spoke, I was wondering questions like technology, are we ready to look at it? Do we want to be ready for it? Then Captain Shukla spoke about it and I realized, yes, maybe, yes, we are ready for it. We are changing. And then I thought, this is this way and this is this way. And I'm so glad Captain Bhasin took the middle route. There is no denying human factor cannot be taken out of any kind of technology. Thank you, each one of you, for gracing us, giving us such insightful thoughts. Can I request all of you now to unveil Tim? May I also request Captain Shaukat to join in? Tim is unbinary. Let's give it a huge round of applause. Yes. We would like to invite Captain Tandon, and we would want you to present the mementos. Please join in, please. Thank you so much, Mr. Shetty, for being with us. Captain Shukla, we're extremely grateful that you joined us. Captain Bhasin, thank you for reminding us about the human factor. Thank you.
So thank you, sirs, dignitaries, guests of honor for gracing the occasion and inaugurating Tim. Now we have the next session lined up. Captain Pradeep Chawla is there on Zoom, and we will project the Zoom, and then I will hand over to the microphone to the next. But a little bit, just a word here and there, and then I mentioned, so in my opening address, I mentioned a lack of, my inability to find a lot of women to speak on technology, and I made it a point. I called up all the training institute and said, please nominate your cadets, but you have to nominate at least 2 girls to come and join us. So yeah, again, a big round of applause to all the girls. And when I said this to that same person who had written to me about diversity, she says, they need to, you need to understand that if you're not there on the stage, you might as well there in the audience, but there will come a time when you're inspired to be on stage in the future, because you're the ones who are going to drive and navigate our future vessels. So that's amazing to have all of you here.